Just because we're doing the inner work doesn't mean that we're not going to get activated. We're still going to come across situations, and dysregulation is not entirely bad as it's made out to be. Sometimes dysregulation or feeling really hypervigilant is a very good thing, especially if we're stretching, especially if we're expanding our capacity, especially if we're really beginning to hold loving awareness, hold space for ourselves. This is what happened for me last night, and I say for me, not to me. I don't like to be in the victim state. I believe that life happens for me. I went to an event last night. I saw someone I knew from the past. I got immediately activated, triggered. My nervous system went into fight, flight, freezer form. I felt very fragile, very sensitive, fear, adrenaline coursing through my veins. Felt ashamed, felt embarrassed, felt humiliated. Really needed to look at the story underlying that, underpinning that, what that was really about. I didn't get activated because that other person is bad or toxic or narcissistic or any of the other things we often hear when people have had hardship, involving other people. This is a David thing. This goes on a David. It doesn't go on. Well, it does go on in other people, but it's a me problem, not a them problem. You understand? So I have to be in a place to accept real accountability for this, to do the deep dive, to do the work. So the first thing is obviously I became aware of all of the stuff. And then I had to take agency, had to take real-time somatic regulation practices that I've been practicing for well over 6 months now. I was going to an event that lasted for about an hour and a half or so, maybe just a bit more, a bit less. But I spent the first 25 to 30 minutes really supporting myself to land in that event, because my mind was going, the cortisol and the adrenaline was pumping through my veins, and I really had to do the breathing and the butterfly tapping on my shoulders and just holding myself, nurturing myself, and trying to calm the narrative that was going on in my head, because there was a big story going on, and there was feelings of embarrassment and humiliation, and I really had to investigate those things. Isn't it unusual that when we are having something happening within us like that, and even I'm sure that people with leukemia or cancer or anything like that could feel like like we're broken. And this is how I felt, like I'm broken, I'm flawed. There must be something fundamentally wrong with me. Normally in the old days, the first thing I'd reach for is a drink. If I wasn't drinking, I'd reach for a smoke. If I wasn't smoking, I'd reach for pornography. If I wasn't reaching for pornography, I'd sleep, But now I'm really trying to take agency and really embody my sovereignty and my self-containment and my solidity, that I can hold myself. I can expand, and I do, and I can expand my capacity to sit with in loving awareness of these uncomfortable emotions and feelings that I'm having. And from a spiritual perspective for myself, because I heavily involved in spirituality, is just to step back and have the awareness. Oh, I see this is what's going on. I can see that there's a story playing out of me that's saying I'm broken. There's a story playing out of me that says I'm weak. And, when I really investigated the fear and the embarrassment, is because there was a chance that I was really exposed in front of people. And if I feel really exposed, I feel judged. And if I feel judged, I feel I'm being judged as weak, faulty, unhinged, weirdo, psycho, narcissistic, whatever it may be. Any of those labels. So I just really had to step back spiritually and go, oh, I'm really aware. So one of the things I've recently learnt is called the current drop. And I was aware of what was going on. I acknowledged what was going on. I allowed it to be there. I was working through to alchemize it, and then I attend to it, just like I would attend to a wound. And it is a wound. There's a wound there. And there's an underlying belief too that I'll be seen as not whole. But that's not really true. That really is not true. So I just want to end on the fact that maybe you could relate, but this is what was my experience. And I just want to remind us all, especially myself, that, these stories, they're not true. How could they be true? I'm a sacred, divine, sovereign being. I'm not separate. I'm not separate. I'm not doing this all by myself. So yeah, just wanted to share. Maybe that helps. See you later.